Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome to The Last Lap, and in today's video we are going to break down everything we saw from Kansas. Before we hop into the video, just want to remind you guys to hit that like button and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it, and you can also check out our social media pages, which are linked down in the description. But let's go ahead and hop into the video. Matthew, my friend and co-host, is joining me, and quickly just want to throw out an apology for not uploading in probably a week and a half or so. Matthew left me for a week out of town on a business/work trip, so didn't want to do anything without him. Wanted him to be part of the show, and man, what a fantastic way to come back to the show after everything we saw in Kansas. But Matthew, what do you have to quickly say to the folks before we go ahead and hop into the video?
Well, I've had a busy week, as you just heard. I was actually around Kansas City, not for NASCAR, unfortunately, but it was for business and work. But glad to be back here. It's been a long week, and man, what a weekend it was! Not only that for NASCAR Cup Series, but also Formula One with the Miami Grand Prix, and also I like to watch the NBA playoffs as well. It's been a busy weekend of stuff to watch, and it definitely did not disappoint in the NASCAR side of things. F1, of course, nothing happened there, but as for NASCAR, we got a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it.
Yeah, NASCAR definitely had the upper hand on F1 today as far as action is concerned. And if you would have said that to me 2 years ago when we had the 550 package at a mile and a half, I would have been like, what are you, crazy?
Oh,
But today was actually a really good race. You'll see both of our ratings later on. But let's go ahead and hop into everything that we saw today. Well, not everything, but a recap, the highlights of the day. Honestly, I missed probably most of the first two stages of the race. I had it on. I was hanging out with a friend, but I had it on, so I was just watching on and off a little bit. But this is what I saw, either live or recaps, wherever. But on lap 6, things already got interesting. Tyler Reddick spun Kyle Larson come off of turn 4, and that brought out the caution. Great racing all day long. I'm gonna say that probably 20,000 times this video. But William Byron, he had a pretty long day. He had a speeding penalty. He pitted for a vibration. I think he went as far as 2 laps down. I'm pretty sure he still finished in the top 10, but I'll go over that later. Briscoe and Cindric, they both lost a tire throughout the race. Briscoe, I think his was on pit road. Cindric's was on the track, so Cindric might lose his crew chief or crew member, whatever, for 2 races. But Denny Hamlin won the first stage, and it seemed very early on that it was going to be a battle between the Toyotas and the Chevys, particularly pretty much all the Toyotas, honestly, and then the Hendrick Motorsports Chevys. Hamlin won the first stage. Larson and Byron, they were up front for most of the race as well. In the Later on in the race, Kyle Busch, he unfortunately got taken out. It seemed like he kind of came down and unfortunately spun himself. His spotter said that he took the blame for it. Kyle Busch would hit the inside wall. That would end his day. Ty Gibbs, he lost control of his car. He was going up the track. Martin Truex Jr. was on the outside of him. Ty Gibbs lost control, spun around, barely touched the inside wall, but unfortunately his tire was flat, and then it just spread everywhere and just tore the car apart. So that ended Ty Gibbs' day. And then in the final stage, seemed like once again it was mostly Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex was at the front for a while, but it seemed to be Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin seemed to be the 2 stars of the field. And then inside of I forget how many laps to go it was when this happened, but Ross Chastain once again made somebody unhappy. This time it was Mr. Noah Gragson again. Ross Chastain came up off of turn 4. He seemed to give Noah Gragson a decent amount of room. I think Noah just got tight and just hit the wall. And then Noah Gragson came down the track and kind of doored Ross just a little bit. And then after the race, he would show his displeasure, which I'll get into in just a second. And Ross also got into it with Kyle Busch. I don't know what triggered it with Kyle Busch, but I think when the caution came out for Christopher Bell, that Kyle kind of gave Ross a little bit of a door slam as well. So Ross Chastain continuing to make enemies. But the final 30 plus laps was between Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin. Kyle Larson was in the lead, and Denny Hamlin was slowly closing, slowly catching him. And with about, I don't know, 5 or 10 laps to go, Denny Hamlin got really close and got to the white flag lap. Kyle Larson was in the lead. He got a little bit loose in turn 1 and 2, allowed Denny to get to his left rear and make him slide up the track. And then they go down the backstretch. Kyle Larson is kind of pulling away from him a little bit. Denny Hamlin tries to turn to the right just a tad to side draft him. Ends up clipping Larson in the left rear. Larson ends up losing control of the car, kind of spinning out and hitting the outside wall. He was able to save it, but Denny Hamlin would go ahead to drive by and get the win at Kansas. And then after the race, Noah Gragson and Ross Chastain had a disagreement, to say the least. Noah Gragson, he got out of the car, approached Ross Chastain, seemed to have said quite a few words, and then Noah kind of grabbed Ross, like right in the chest, like right here, and Ross was telling him to stop. He told him 2 or 3 times to stop, and then, I guess 3 strikes are out, and and Ross Chastain pulled one of these and just it was a firm clock. Like, it was a clock to the cheek, like right here. He went boom. It was a man. That was pretty funny to see. But yeah, that ended up happening. It was right in the middle of Kyle Larson's interview too. Actually, he was doing his interview, and he was like off to the side looking at the little TV monitor the camera guys bring with him, and he just like laughed like right in the middle of his interview, like, you guys should probably be talking about that right now, not interviewing me after I just got wrecked for the win. But yeah, that was really funny. But quickly, let me go over the race results, and I'll give my opinion on all of this drama that happened in the final stage at Kansas. But Denny Hamlin first, Kyle Larson second, William Byron bounces back to finish third, actually, after going 2 laps down with all of his problems today. Bubba Wallace fourth, great run for him. All the Toyotas were strong. I know Bubba led a handful of laps today, had a top 5 car. Tyler Reddick also finished fifth. I know he led some laps today as well. All the Toyotas look strong. Joey Logano sixth. I think he had some type of strategy call that kept him inside the top 10, and he was able to kind of hang around there for the final stage or so. Didn't really have a good car, but still able to get a top 10 finish. Ty Gibbs, Denny Hamlin. Wait a minute. Ooh, it switched over to points on me. Whoopsies. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know how it did that.
Come on, man.
Whoops. There we go. Yeah, okay. There we go. This is right. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, William Byron, Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain 5th, Logano 6th, Chase Elliott 7th. There we go. Martin Truex Jr. 8th, Tyler Reddick 9th, and Austin Dillon 10th. That rounds out the top 10 for you guys. I don't know how my phone just randomly switched over to like stage 2, but anyways, those are the proper results. They'll be on the screen over here for you guys as well. But let's go ahead and hop into all of this drama that happened in the third stage. The only 2 real things I'm going to talk about is the Larson and Hamlin thing and the Ross Chastain and Noah Gragson thing. So Larson and Hamlin, obviously I don't think Hamlin spun out Kyle Larson intentionally. I know they're good friends off the track. It's just hard racing. Denny Hamlin, he went to try and side draft Larson and just clipped his left rear. Kind of wish he could have done it clean. I know Larson was battling the handling conditions of his car, and Hamlin probably would have passed him anyway, but I just wish it would have been a little bit more of a clean finish. Hamlin probably would have dive bombed it into turn 3, and Kyle Larson probably would have ripped around the top, and it would have been a really good battle to see who got back to the line. But yeah, just a racing incident there. And now Ross Chastain versus Noah Gragson. I think I heard somebody say this a few weeks ago when Ross got into it last week with Kyle Larson. Like, Ross Chastain, you don't hate, like, you love his story. Everybody loves his story. He's a watermelon farmer, small town guy, got his opportunity in NASCAR, made it work. Now he's racing for one of the best teams in NASCAR, but I think he's just almost, he's almost like fighting too hard, like kind of like his life depends, or his ride depends on every single race, which I get that mentality to where you have to race your hardest every single lap to make sure you get the best result possible. But at the same time, you gotta learn to let people go and race people clean if it's early in the race. Like last week, he took out Kyle Larson and Brennan Poole like in stage one of the race at Dover last week. So I just think Ross needs just to be a little bit more patient. I don't hate him. He's just super aggressive and just kind of needs to learn some situational awareness, I think. But yeah, this incident, the whole on the track incident, I don't really see anything wrong with what he did. I might have to look back at the replay again, but from what I saw, I just saw Ross gave him a lane and Noah, I think his car just got tight off the corner and he just got into the wall and didn't lift. But Noah Gragson, he's not going to give Ross Chastain the benefit of the doubt. I don't think anybody is. That's something else I heard from somebody in the past few weeks is if Ross Chastain gets into an incident, like if Ross Chastain gets into Chase Elliott or I don't know who, it's hard to list a person that he hasn't gotten into something with, but let's say, just for the heck of the example, let's say if Jimmy Johnson is racing again and Ross Chastain does something like that to Jimmy Johnson. He's not going to give Ross Chastain the benefit of the doubt because he has that history. So Noah Gragson, they have history from Talladega a few weeks ago. So obviously Noah not too happy, goes over, talks to Ross Chastain, and the whole thing that happened on pit road, I'm actually going to be on Ross's side here because Noah Gragson did grab him, like right here. He grabbed him, and Ross said at least 2 or 3 times for him to stop. Noah didn't stop, so Ross gave him a little punch to get him off of him. You know, I wish that the security guards weren't in the way so they could kind of duke it out a little bit, but, at the same time, we don't want drivers going ham on each other. But, Noah, this is the only thing I have to side with Noah Gragson about this whole incident, is that he said that, he didn't want to wreck Ross's car because he respects Justin Marks and Trackhouse and all of them, which I appreciate, which is good. We don't need to go out there destroying race cars. And he said that, he's one of the only people that have went up to Ross and said something about it and kind of gotten in his face and maybe not shaking him up a little bit, but maybe just kind of put it out there like, hey, walked up to him and had a genuine conversation and grabbed him and was like, hey, you're not going to mess with me. I don't appreciate that. So maybe that's what it takes for Ross to get the message and be like, okay, I respect you. I'm not going to race you like that. I'll give you a break next time or something like that. But I don't know. I was going to say one more thing, but I'm probably talking too much. So I'll go ahead and let Matthew say his point about anything and everything that he saw from Kansas. So Matthew, go ahead and share with everybody what you thought about what you saw.
All right, man, there's a lot to digest in. Um, First and foremost, this is pretty much the best race of the year so far. I mean, I feel like there's not really an argument for that. I mean, this race had everything today. Amazing racing, amazing passes, amazing battles, amazing drama, and as a bonus, amazing last lap and an amazing fight. So that's the best race of the season as of right now. And I'm just, man, that was just amazing. And all right, so I'm mainly just going to talk about the two main stories that are going to be talked about the whole week here. First of all, the last laps with Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin. They, I feel like those two raced very well um, in these last laps. They raced each other clean for the most part. I mean, you didn't see 5 to go when Denny Hamlin got to the side. He just tried to do a slide job and just put both of them in the wall or something like that, or do a Chase Briscoe and slide up the track and take both each other out. I feel like for the most part they race each other clean. Now the last lap is going, of course, be controversial. In my opinion, I think Denny Hamlin did absolutely nothing wrong here. I mean, it is the final lap. I mean, you're not going. I mean, if it was like lap, 35, for example, I'm sure Hamlin would have backed off and gave Larson more room. But this is the last lap here. You're not going to, give a lot of room here. You're going to get every inch that you got. And as for Larson, I mean, you could tell those last few laps that that car was getting very, very loose, and that's how Hamlin was able to catch him basically. And Larson got in the wall and got loose and tried to overcorrect, and the car went the other way into the wall. So, in my opinion, that is definitely not on Denny Hamlin. Of course, you're gonna have those Hendrick bandwagons, those fools, putting the blame on Denny Hamlin as usual. But in reality, Larson was loose pretty much the last few laps and basically overcorrected and got in the wall. So, I mean, at least both of them were able to finish 1-2. So, I mean, it's not like it's the end of the world or anything for Larson. But, oh man, congratulations to Denny Hamlin. I mean, he had pretty much one of the best cars today. There wasn't really a dominant car today, per se, because there were a lot of lead changes. I mean, Denny Hamlin was leading at some point, Willie Byron was leading at some point, Larson was leading, Truex was leading, heck, even Chase Elliott was leading at some point, Bubba Wallace. There were a lot of lead changes, which that was amazing to see. And yeah, I mean, that's gonna be a last lap that a lot of people are gonna remember from years to come, in my opinion. Along with the other great finish at Kansas with Carl Edwards doing the video game move on Jimmy Johnson, but failed. Um, but yeah, what a crazy last lap. I mean, respect to both Hamlin and Larson. I mean, it's not like both of them were, saying stupid things. They were, being respectful to each other. So that's kudos to both of them. I mean, they're friends off the track, so that's what I'm assuming that would be, but you never know. But yeah, amazing finish. Now, now let's get to the juicy part right here with Ross Chastain and Noah Gragson. Now, the incident that caused all this was with Ross and Noah. I think there were three wide. I think in turn four, and in my opinion, that kind of looked pretty much similar to with the whole Larson Bubba Wallace deal at Las Vegas, where they were in a three wide situation, and one car. I mean, they didn't give each other a lot of room, and the car on the outside hit the wall. So, but like you said, I do have a lot of respect for Noah Gragson for saying, hey, I'm not gonna use my car as a weapon, tear up trackhouse cars because they put a lot of work into it, which I appreciate. I mean, you can be mad at someone, just don't use your car as a weapon, and tear millions of dollars of race cars up. So that respect for Gregson on that. Handle that off when you're out of the car, in my opinion, which he did. So we get to after the race with the whole fight started basically, and unfortunately, no Ross. Now, Ross Chastain did get the hit in, and in my opinion, if it wasn't for that security guy being in the way, I feel like Noah Gragson would have gone the hit in too. In my opinion, I think Noah Gragson would have whooped his, you know what? Because I've seen Noah Gragson fight a couple times in the past few years, especially when he put Harrison Burns to the ground at Kentucky a couple years ago, or when he was swinging at Daniel Hemrick a couple years ago too. But unfortunately, that security guy just had to break things up, and Ross Chastain basically won the fight by default. um, but I didn't think Ross Chastain had it in him. I mean, he had a good swing there. I mean, I didn't expect that at all. You don't expect Ross Chastain to be a fighter, but he is. Um, but I mean, Noah Gragson did what no other driver's done so far. Actually confront him, get in his face. Start getting, start throwing some swing, start swinging at each other. I mean, we see Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Martin Truex Jr., and a few other drivers basically. They get these incidents and they're all talk, like I'm not gonna race him. I'm gonna race him the same way as he does me. Blah blah blah. and then they just forget about it, do nothing about it. But Noah Gregson. I mean, he wasn't going to let it slide. So I gotta give props to him. Maybe some of these drivers will look at it and like, well, maybe I should start doing what Noah Gregson does, start confronting him so we can start sending him a message because being the past couple of seasons, Ross Chastain keeps doing the same thing over and over and over again. And then after the race, he's gonna be like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. That's my fault. I'm like, and then he does it again, and the cycle repeats. And I mean, it's about time someone finally stood up to Ross Chastain, and I guess it had to be the rookie to do it. So I mean, I gotta give props to Noah Gregson, even though he did lose the fight there. And it was even more impressive is with all the coverage that like ESPN, Bleacher Report, etc. been talking about Formula One all weekend long. They actually took the time to talk about this fight in the midst of all that. And of course, I look in the comments, and of course, it's all these casuals just clowning on Noah Gregson's haircut. I'm like, oh, good lord. Noah Gregson, you picked a bad time to get in a fight, especially when you have that haircut still. Come on, man. I mean, he got that haircut from Dumb and Dumber, basically. um, good lord. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say. What an amazing race today. Best race of the season, in my opinion. And man, I'm, if ever, this is one of the few races that I'm glad there's two races. Like most of the time for me, I prefer to have one races for each track. But Kansas is one of the few that I'll say they deserve two races, and today lived up to that. So yeah,
Yeah, I think like Denny Hamlin didn't forget. He raced Chastain the way that he believed Ross raced him, but you see what happened. Ross or Denny got fined and points taken away for it. So I think the way Noah Gragson went about it is the way that drivers are going to have to do it because, like we've seen in the past few weeks with the whole Ryan Preece and Kyle Larson thing, we don't know where the line is for on track retaliation and stuff like that. So I guess people are just going to have to get out their car and get in people's face and talk it out and maybe, do a few pushes and shoves and maybe a punch or two to figure it out that way. But anyways, let's go ahead and rate this race before getting on. Oh yeah, also sorry, one more thing. Tell me why it seems like Ross Chastain and Denny Hamlin are like buddy buddy now after their whole thing at Phoenix. Cause like after the race, Ross went to victory lane and was like, "Hey, congratulations, you won the Advent Health 400 because Advent Health is sponsoring his car and all that kind of stuff." And then in the media center, Denny Hamlin is watching the video of what happened, and he's basically defending Ross Chastain right there. So
We got a couple different angles. He told him to stop.
I don't know why it seems like Hamlin and Ross are buddy buddy now after I guess Phoenix. I guess they handled it and put it behind them or whatever. It's just funny that they seem to be best friends now. Well, maybe not best friends, but friends, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, let's go ahead and rate this race before getting on out of here. I think I have to give this race. Oh man, I want to give it a 10 so bad, but I don't know. I want to give like a tiny bit of gap for anything that might be better than what we saw today. But at the same time, I don't know if we'll see anything better than what we saw today. So I think I gotta give this like a 9.5 out of 10. The package was great. Racing was good. Low lane, high lane, mix of crashes. Not complete dominance by one specific car, even one specific manufacturer. It seemed like all the Toyotas were good. It seemed like Larson and Byron were pretty good. And great finish as well. You know, a wreck on the last lap, last lap pass for the win. Had a fight after the race. I'm going to have to give it a 9.5 out of 10. Matthew, what are you going to rate the race that you saw today?
Man, I guess I'll be the guy to say I'm going to go 10 out of 10 here. Everything exciting that you expect from a NASCAR race happened today. And I pretty much explained why earlier. And yeah, I'm giving it 10 out of 10 in my opinion.
All right, 10 out of 10 from Matthew over there. He went ahead and did it for us. The hammer has been done. 10 out of 10. Hammer, hammer, hammer. As for our fantasy points and updates, I was only +4 on you for the day, beat you by 4 points. You had 211, I had 215, so I am
Thanks
100
to
and
William Byron, he tricked me. I thought he was done.
I thought he was too. I didn't have him in my lineup at all, but he came back up there and got it done. I think I had Bell in my lineup, so once he went out, I was like, okay, I gotta take him out and put somebody else in. But yeah, I only got 4 points on you. I'm still 155 behind you. I think my hope of defending my fantasy championship from last year is out the window at this point. But who knows? We'll see. Still a lot of ground to go. But yeah, Matthew, do you have any other closing thoughts before we go ahead and finish this video up?
Not really. I mean, like I said, I feel bad for all the motorsport fans or casual fans who decided to tune in F1 today just for pretty much nothing to happen other than watching the Red Bull Racing League, basically. And just skipping out on NASCAR today for what was a very exciting race. So, anyone who did that, I feel sorry for you. That's all I have to say.
Well, to be fair, I think the F1 race ended by like even before stage 2 of the race at Kansas finished. So hopefully, you know, people that were watching the F1 race hopped over to the NASCAR race and got to see a good finish because the Kansas race was a good finish. But anyways, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this video. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, sorry for the delay on the past week and a half or so of not uploading the videos, but hopefully we'll be able to get on track this week. We got Darlington coming up. We'll probably do just a throwback paint schemes video, maybe chat about a tiny bit of news, but we really love those throwback paint schemes, so we'll probably go through a lot of those for you guys in our next video. But until the next time, we will see you guys in the next one.